How can we recognize if the care of a tree should proceed if the tree is severely damaged with a disease? This is Jamin Mayer with Parker Tree Service, October 29, 2021. I just want to show this is actually 2 locust trees on a property that are actually severely diseased, and I want to kind of zoom in, walk around where you see the extremities of this large branch where it's defoliated, but it's defoliated for a purpose, not just because it is fall or autumn, but that actually is severely diseased. In this case, the disease is Thyranectria Canker. You may or you may not be able to see some little shiny parts coming out of the tree. Shiny parts is that resin. Resin is created by hardwood trees to try to push out disease in localized areas. So that means the extremities from right around here on is starting to shut down, as in the flow of water is clogged up from that disease, and therefore the extremities of this tree is dying kind of at a fast pace. Yeah, you can see more tip dieback way out here, tip dieback up here. So now if I kind of pan over to the right, we can see some more tip dieback here. We can go on, and one of the challenges that I'm faced with is, let's see, from a tree pruning perspective is, say if I want to eliminate really large diameter deadwood, if I can reduce it back to a larger branch that is alive and healthy, I'll take that choice, and so would any other tree guide basically. However, I have a conundrum sometimes with pruning severely diseased trees and trees that are struggling, and the conundrum is from a tree pruning point of view, and it's kind of hard to see because there's so much mixed foliage in here. But this lower branch right here, if I wanted to reduce it back to something that's alive, like a small branch, in this case I would have to choose what is called a heading cut. A heading cut is typically avoided if you can do that. If it's a perfectly healthy branch, you don't need to use heading cuts, you can just use reduction cuts to alleviate weight. But in this case, the purpose for a heading cut is to actually take it back to a live branch. It'll actually look like kind of a topping cut. The appearance would be basically unnatural and ugly looking. And sometimes when a tree is really struggling like this, for the benefit of the doubt of trying to keep the tree alive, maybe another year or two, whatever it might be, is the compromise from a pruning perspective is you're going to have some basically ugly results. So let's see here. Kind of the topic is, how do you know if you want to continue the efforts to keep a tree alive or not? At least we can do trunk injections to suppress disease at the vascular level within the tree, so then a fungicide can stop the future growth of that disease. But there's another thing. Sometimes if you have a stressed tree due to disease, you might have an insect problem or an insect attack. And what insects do, especially with a locust tree, we have honey locust borer. What they do is they may chew and compromise the strength or the integrity of a normally strong tree. So locust is actually a very strong tree. And I'm kind of targeting stuff above the home here, as that would be a natural concern for me. The concern is future limb failure. Whoops, I'm zooming in and out, and I'm just using a cell phone. I'm not a professional camera guy. But what I want to say is, so there's a break there, I think that's about 6-inch diameter. Just knowing what I know, there could have been extending out 15 feet plus. A 6-inch diameter branch, 15 feet. You know, if there's a vehicle here, that could be bad news, right? So typically trees or urban trees, they're in a tight space to live, and the tight space is just because we naturally live by them, right? So as the integrity of the wood is getting chomped and chewed away with by the honey locust borer, then we have other potential problems, as in limb failure. And sometimes, yeah, we all wrestle through cost benefit analysis, you know, whether we want to say keep a tree alive or not. That's, you know, sometimes it does amount up to cost and all that. And I guess the thing to consider is future costs of, you know, to the west is this direction, and then the sun can be baking on the home if you actually lose the trees. And if someone is living at a home for such a long period of time, you have some sentimental attachment to your trees. So those are processes that people have to weigh personally, you know, on kind of the future care of a tree. And if it's in decline, senescing, dying, do you prolong the life? Do you make the decision before it's completely hazardous to a point that it's no longer acceptable? You know, there's a lot of things to wrestle through. But I just wanted to talk about that subject. Is kind of how do you know, whether you continue to take care of the tree or not. There's just a lot of things to go through. It's kind of a tough one. I don't always have the answer for that.